Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very second round here at NXTGP DTM at NXTGP indeed. For the second round in the DTM Championship here at, like I said, NXTGP. We arrive at Zandvoort for that very second round. That the beautiful 4.2 kilometer long track located in the Dutch dunes, in the Dutch virtual dunes, of course, as we are not racing in real life, but on the fantastic iRacing game itself, as we head on straight into qualifying for the 20-minute qualifying session, 15 minutes of which we will see, as we are currently looking at the very man on the provisional pole position, I should say, Michael Smit, currently in P1. Let's see if Michael Smit can retain that P1, because he has some very tough competition. As the caps are restored, and I'll do the broadcasting again by myself, so if anything is wrong with the audio, do not be afraid to let me know in chat. But let's see what this second round can bring us. As Hudson Hughes goes to the top of the timing table, and he needs it because his last race looked to be pretty fortunate until everything went very wrong in the latter stages of the race. The very first race, driven of course at the Red Bull Ring. Very chaotic race, always eventful, the Red Bull Ring. But Zandvoort can be just as eventful. As I just said, Hudson Hughes shot to the top of the timing board. Well, it's now Conor Frans who's directly behind the Australian driver. Went quite off track, Conor Frans did. But Michael Smit again takes pole position, 3/10 of a gap. He's one of the very first to go out in this qualifying session, which means he has his the tire temperatures a little bit more favorable at this stage of the qualifying session. And I'll suspect Conor and both Jeremy Lefile and Hudson Hughes just in front of Conor Fransen. They will definitely get some stronger laps in as well. For now, we wait and see as Dennis Blocker goes second. Always a good contender. Your Porsche Carrera Deutschland Super Cup champion. He has been crowned so last round in that Carrera Deutschland Cup. Porsche Carrera Deutschland Cup. Tommy Rosayer goes to pole position, has a car in front of him. That's the 95 Porsche GT3, as Tommy Rosayer has probably lost a lot of time behind that Porsche and calls it a day. Gian Zoutewelle, number 11, or at least running P11. Jan Schoeneveld in the McLaren wasn't so fortunate in position last race. Can he do a better job in qualifying? He currently is doing so. Rick Possema shooting up to P5, 7/10 of the leader. See if Rick Possema can do something to claw back, to get back some time on pole position, which is being held just a few cars in front of him, but a car in front of him, the Frenchman Tommy Rosayer, who won last time around at the Red Bull Ring. Rosayer lets Rick Possema go. As Giel Zoutewelle comes closer and closer to the man on pole position, but it's not enough for now. Michael Smit, let's see what the Ford Mustang for Lion GP Racing can achieve in this run. And let's look on board with him if I can manage to do so, to get the proper cockpit. And there we are. Well, I wanted to say over the line, but the Swiss driver decides to give up this attempt and get back with, well, an empty tank, because you don't want to run a full tank in quali. An empty tank, fresh tires, and a new attempt, as the Frenchman who is leading the championship, of course, as well, currently still in P2. Dennis Blocker coming through the second to last corner to the last corner. Daar, die Luindijkbocht out of that last corner, and is his Porsche GT3, which isn't so favorable these days. But Dennis Blocker over the line. P7 he was, P7 he stays, as there's another Porsche from Schijfvlak Racing driving just behind him, trying to spot the number, something with a number 3. Anyways, Gian Zoutuelle shot up to P2 just a few laps ago. Can he improve? If he can improve, it'd be huge. That would mean pole position for the Dutch driver in the, again, not so popular Porsche GT3. There he is, Ewald van Kruijsen, who did very well in the silver category last time around. We, like always here at NXTGP, a few categories for drivers. We have the gold category. Well, Ewald van Kruijsen sure has a gold car, but he's not driving in the gold category as of this season. A gold category, a silver category, and a bronze category in this championship. You get awarded the gold category for being 4K I rating or above, as Dennis Blocker will come across the line with a beautiful slipstream. I say beautiful, but the car in front of him just dived into pit lane. Will it be a better lap for Dennis Blocker nonetheless? The answer is a no, and thus he stays just about 6/10 behind Tommy Razayer. Conor Frans over the line, or is it an outlap? I think it was an outlap. And now Conor Frans can push the pedal to the floor. Both pedals to the floor, you need both. Onwards turn 2, and then the very first kombocht, like we say in the Netherlands, the first banked corner of the circuit, and the second will follow, and the third then as the last. Conor Frans in P3. Let's see if he can improve his time. Always very close to the top spots in this championship so far, Conor Frans. Got second last time around. The gap was roughly 8 seconds, if I recall, to Tommy Razayer in Austria. It seems relatively calm so far for Conor Frans. And that is a bit too calm. David Prochazka, the Czech driver for Mirage Motorsport, just improved up to P16. A Mercedes AMG GT3, which we don't see often in this championship, but here he is, one of the few. As a matter of fact, there aren't any Mercedes AMG GT3s in the top 10. Nearly in the top 10. Rick Postema is the man who's in the highest Mercedes AMG GT3, running P11 as of now. See if he can change that. We have a number of different manufacturers as well. Of course, some Porsches in there, some Fords, some Aston Martins. But we only have one Audi GT3. An Audi GT3 who's sadly fading away in real life as well. But here he is in iRacing, Ruud Lopez, currently in P28. Let's see if the Dutchman can improve on his lap time. Conor Frans was out on track, isn't out on track now. Gian Zoutuelle therefore takes over pole position, something I completely missed last time around. He went over the line, took pole position, but there is Tommy Razaier. So that pole position was of a very short duration for Gian Zoutewelle, who was also returned to pit lane. But the battle for pole position is truly on. Oh, and there's something happened to Conor Franse. I as a matter of fact, don't know what happened to Conor Franse. This should be a replay. Oh, there he goes. Oh, wow. Well, I can tell you this. That's not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen. And I think my broadcasting tool. Oh wow, has it given up as well? Wow, this is incredible. We should be back to live pictures, but it apparently can't select any after that crash. Apparently because of Conor France's weird crash, my broadcasting tool has given up as well. So that needs to be restored. Obviously, I'm going to try my best to do so. Well, I'm gonna do a little promo here, and I'll roll the leader again as I try and fix my broadcasting tool just before the race. And as I sorted my broadcasting tool out, I finally sorted my mic out as well. Well, you know, it's one of those days. It's one of those days where one thing technically goes wrong, then the other thing also goes wrong. So sorry for the inconvenience, but we're back for the race. Luckily, sadly we missed a part of qualifying, but now we're back. Thank you for everyone notifying me in the comments. I was aware my mic wasn't working, but we're back now. Well, let's see if I can take you to the grid then. It's Tommy Razayer in pole position, followed by Gian Zouterwelle. Conor Franse, nearly 3 tenths behind in P3, followed by Brocker, followed by Lefau, the Frenchman, followed by a Swiss driver, Smit, in P6. Hudson Hughes will probably not be satisfied with his qualifying. P7 it is, followed by Schoeneveld, Lucas Romano, Frederiksen, Ewout van Kruiswijk and Postema in P10, P12. From P12 we should be going to P13, but obviously my broadcasting tool doesn't have it today. So there you go. I wanted to say there you go, but it's all gone wrong once again. Luckily, let's hope the timing tower does survive. Let's hope the timing tower survives this time around. Everyone is almost gridded, and we will have a formation lap that gives me maybe just enough time to go across the grid. Yes, we can. We finally can. Alright, I missed some positions, but Teunissen in P15, followed by Navarro de Boever, Jeremy de Boever in P17. Probably family, I suppose. David Prochaka in P18, if I pronounce that right. Polonus in P19, followed by Aiden Schweikert, followed by Skierstad, Heine Huis, Metzler, Gebuis in P25, and Niklas Weiler in P26. Then the last remaining drivers, Ruud Lopez in P27 in that lone Audi, the only Audi GT3 in the field today. Pirog will find himself in P28 after the end of the 20-minute qualifying, followed by Martens, followed by Weijers. Lewis Radcliffe will start from P31, followed by Guus Franke, followed by Zwemmer and Hahuri. I probably pronounced that completely wrong, will start as last here on the grid. Well, now it's a case of getting the start in your head. What are you going to do about the starts as we see Gian Zouterwelle in P2? Michael Smit will start from P6. The Lion GP Ford Mustang looks great in those white and green colors. Who do we have else then? Liam Mulder in the Porsche GT3. In the Grello colors, and the Grello Porsche 911 GT3 or 992 GT3 we've seen at the Nürburgring as well. We don't have BMWs in the field, I don't think. We don't. I wanted to talk about the the BMW compact car, which we might get in iRacing. Who knows? it'd be fantastic to see such a car in iRacing, but alas, not so far. Warm up your tires, warm up your brakes for the very second round here at NXTGP at Zandvoort. Who will win today? Will it be Tommy Razair again? Will it be Gian Zoutewelle for a surprise? He started oh so well last time around at the Red Bull Ring. It didn't go so well midway through the race. Can he get it together this time? Zandvoort is a completely different track, less slipstream dependent, maybe more suitable for that Porsche 911 992 GT3 as well. So easy to say that Porsche 911, it gets used so much in the modern day. I'll just stop calling it the 911 and just a GT3 from now on. Conor France in the Aston Martin, a strong car altogether without BOP. And as the safety car ducks in pit lane, we'll wait for the green flag to be waved. When will Tommy Razair put his right foot down, accelerate and lead the field into turn 1? Green flag, and we go racing here at NXTGP for the second round in this DTM championship. 3 wide for Conor France, Jamie Leval, Dennis Blocker there as well. Conor France are touching the rear of Dennis Blocker there, but Blocker keeping it all together. Oh, carnage in the back, carnage, a lot of carnage in the back as people try to survive it on the exit of turn 1. Dennis Blocker, fantastic start as I hear some tires screeching as well. Well, we have some replay work to do at oh my god, are we going 3 wide through the middle part of Zandvoort? Datsun Hughes has had a very bad, oh, there's a car onto the gravel. It's Jan Scheuneveld in the McLaren as everything is absolutely kicking off here at the circuit of Zandvoort. Rick Postema in that number 1 Mercedes AMG GT3 looking down the inside of Lucas Romano. It is Hudson Hughes around the outside of Ewout van Kruijsen. Get at Aston Martin, who's focused on aerodynamic speed, the GT3. Can he hang around the outside? The answer is yes, as we already have some pit stops, of course. Oh, there's contact between the drivers. And there goes Ewout van Kruijsen, not into the wall, but down the inside, down the gravel of the Audi S-Sport. And down Ewout van Kruijsen goes, might have some damage. Oh, there's another Ferrari GT3 from Gus Heine, not driving without any front downforce. It's incredible that car is still on track, as he for sure goes in pit lane, and it's all still kicking off here at the circuit of Zandvoort. Ewout van Kruijsen down the inside of David Prochaka, and down the inside he goes and gets P13 back. Oh, what a start it has been as we focus on the top group here. Tommy Razair still in P1, Gian Zoutewelle in P2. This time Tommy Razair not getting away anytime soon from the top 3. Last time he got a gap so quickly at the Red Bull Ring. This time it's a whole different story. But the 4.2 kilometer long track of Zandvoort in the dunes of the Netherlands certainly has been an action-packed provider for the start here at NXTGP for the second round in the DTM Championship. Lots of people with damage, lots of people in pit lane. That's why you see a lot of pit lane activity already down at the bottom of your screen. Everyone will need to make a pit stop in this DTM Championship in one DTM race, if I'm not mistaken. The top 3 looks relatively stable. Hudson Hughes, the Australian driver, currently finding himself stable on towards a charge. Rick Postema in P9 now, trying to attack Lucas Romano. Both front engine cars. Oh, here's some. Oh, there's a crash once again. There's a Schijfvlak racing car involved. That's Terje Frederiksen. How has that come about? This is the replay on board with Terje Frederiksen. Just losing the car on throttle, losing that Lamborghini on throttle. And there he goes, taking, I think there was Ewout van Kruijsen with him as well. And he's still driving. I think that was Ewout van Kruijsen. It was indeed Ewout van Kruijsen, also now in pit lane. So that's another stroke of bad luck for Schijfvlak Racing. I saw Tommy Razzayer flashing with his lights because there's a Ferrari in front of him, not for position. Merely also not for on-track position. Ferrari getting in pit lane now. That's Cas Heijnen. He has repaired the damage. We saw him a few laps ago. Dennis Blocker also really signing with his lights. Please get out of the way. There were probably some swear words in between because he's not past Cas Heijnen yet. As the Porsche of Niklas Werle will now accompany Dennis Blocker throughout turn 3. Yeah, Dennis Blocker will not be happy with that. Down the inside he goes. Obviously the Porsche just ahead of him. Now past him. I say that's Niklas Werle. It's actually a different car. But teammates nonetheless, driving with the same livery. I think it's Luca Metzler. Indeed it is. As, well, Conor Fransen. Something happened to Conor Fransen, or did he just have a really bad start? I think it's the latter, because I can't see anything on my replay popped up. Well, I updated the timing tower once again, and I'm quite sure it's all right now. All right, Aiden Schreikert currently in P19. As my timing tower does go mad, sadly. Well, I'll look into that after the race once again. Liam Mulder in any case, P11 in the Grello Porsche GT3. Just behind them is Niklas Werle, who I just falsely accused of being lapped, but he's in full charge towards P11 in this race. Where are the exciting battles here? This is Ruud Lopez, who's had a fantastic race. He's had a fantastic start at this point in time. Oh, there goes. Is that Niklas Werle this time? No, it's not. It's the lapped car again. The Porsche of Luca Metzler. Stranded. Well, I say stranded. For now, stranded. Almost a touch with the barrier there. Let's see what happened to Luca Metzler if we can. He's already... No, can't find it sadly. Well, back to Cas Heijnen. He's already lapped, but he's still in P24, which tells about the many victims that Zandvoort has claimed already. I wonder why Conor Fransen, well, he's had a bad start obviously. He got overtaken by Dennis Blocker, got overtaken by Jeremy Lefal at those opening moments in the race. But he hasn't managed to actually get past the Frenchman as of now. The number 9 Aston Martin GT3 might want to consider a move. Merely for the fact that he is getting closer on the back end of that Mercedes AMG GT3. but the yellow and black Aston Martin now truly coming in for a charge. They're both maybe catching Dennis Blocker just a tiny bit. As well, all make use of that gravel at the second to last turn at the circuit of Zandvoort. Let's go back to Conor Franzen. Will the slipstream be enough this time to provide him for a move down the inside of Jeremy Laval? I'm sure the answer is no. He's quite far back coming out of the Arie Luijendijk bocht, and even the slipstream is so strong, especially with a tailwind on towards turn 1. Not enough so far for Conor Franzen. Gian Zoutewelle has managed to stay within a second of the car in front. Well, I say that a little bit commentator's curse. It's hanging there or thereabouts. 1 second it's now. It was 9 tenths, 8 tenths even before the lap began. Gian Zoutewelle not making a mistake. There's Dennis Blocker, and Dennis Blocker has lost valuable time compared to the rest of the field, and especially towards the Frenchman and Dutchman just behind him. Maybe that gives the Frenchman behind him the courage and the motivation to finally charge to that green and white Porsche GT3. Conor Franzen patiently waiting for the Aston Martin or for the Mercedes to make a mistake. Back to the only Lamborghini. Oh, there's a car just spun in front of him, but that's a Ford Mustang. Is it Joran Polonus? Yes, it is. As Polonus gets passed by a lot of drivers in the field. Going in towards the last turn already with some damage. And there he goes, the number 29 car around and losing even more positions. Wasn't lapped. And on he goes. Oh! There's a... what happened there? That's a Schijfvlak Racing. That's Hein Zwemmer. And what happened to Hein Zwemmer is... I can't find it in my replay file. So surely Hein Zwemmer must have had this extremely damaged front end since the beginning of the race and just has chosen to roll with it and not come in. Well, actually I wanted to say that front end does not look so streamlined. Streamlined. I can gladly confirm, or gladly with confidence confirm, that front end doesn't have any downforce left. As on my Delta, Gian Zoutewelle is falling back, but you have to forgive the time tower for that. He's still within a second of Tommy Razair. Let's see if this battle then can get any more excitement towards the end of the race. It's all about consistency here. 55 minutes around the circuit of Zandvoort. Laps are roughly 1 minute and 32 seconds. Last lap was a 1:32.4 from Tommy Razair and Gian Zoutewelle. Those times will increase, especially towards the end of this race. Well, it seems that when I put my timing tower on the interval instead of gaps, it's relatively stable. So I suppose that's a good thing. And you might be wondering, well, P21 currently, P21, Van Zwijers, the Ford Mustang, battling with, should be Gebuis, who has a slowdown, and Gebuis, I want to say let him go. He probably has to, because he has a slowdown. You can see the black box behind the name of Gebuis that normally indicates he either has a flag of some sorts or a slowdown flag. He's losing time to the Porsche right behind him. Actually, it's not a Porsche right behind him, that's a lapped car. Must be the Porsche of, well, there we have it, the Italian Luca Ardizone, who's just unlapping himself from P21. Well, Jeremy Lefal being pressured once again by Conor Franse. Conor Franse is still not getting by. Can he get by this time though? Surely he's close enough. Surely Conor Franse dives down the inside. Will it be enough though? He dives down the inside, but he can't get to the inside of the Frenchman and therefore stays P5. The man who finished P2 in last race, now struggling to overtake Jeremy Lefal, the man running in P4 in this race. But look how close Conor Franse is to the back and to the sides of that Mercedes AMG GT3. Yet he can't get past, and that's only good news for the man in the green and white Porsche GT3, running in P3 and running away from the drivers just behind him. The Frenchman, Lefal, just has to constantly look in his rear view mirrors, defending from Conor Franse, wanting to retain that P4 with roughly 40 minutes left. As they approach the Tarzan box once again, Hudson Hughes now approaching P6. Michael Smith, you can see the Ford Mustang driver currently driving in P6 with the Lion GP colors. Hudson Hughes coming closer and closer, almost every lap really. Michael Smith losing valuable time. I want to say valuable time. He's gained 5/10 on the Australian just in lap 9. And now it's, well, it's there and thereabouts. Hudson Hughes definitely closed that gap from the start of the race, but unable to overtake Michael Smith at this point in time. Which is very interesting. You see a lot of drivers behind one another, but not able to overtake. That's really the nature of this circuit of Zandvoort. In those GT3 drivers, GT3 cars, you can definitely overtake. There's a lot of overtaking opportunities in cup cars like Mazda MX-5. I've seen it myself, especially with Mazda MX-5 with a little bit of tailwind in real life and in the virtual world as well. It can get oh so exciting, but these GT3s are heavy. A lot of more downforce dependent. And obviously, and probably that's more important, much wider. There goes Jeremy Lefal. I saw it in the foreground, battling with Conor Franse once again. Conor Frans, again not getting by. And now he tries it down the inside of turn 3. I can tell you that is not going to work out. There's contact between the drivers. Both touch. And Conor Frans was definitely the one who initiated that contact. Does not give that position back. Surely that will be reviewed by the stewards. Let's have another look at that again. Conor Frans touching the rear end of the side of that Mercedes. Well, the Frenchman definitely not happy with that. Conor might think I have the position, finally. But, well, maybe questions will be raised by how he got that position. 35 minutes left and Conor Frans finally running in P4. Now it's task for Hudson Hughes to get past Jeremy Lefal. We have an exact scenario with Rick Postema and Lucas Romano. Both in, again, a front engine car. The gearbox, or the drive shaft I should say, of that Ford Mustang GT3 actually in the back of the car. Both rumbling V8s if I'm not mistaken. Fantastic, two GT3 cars. Jeremy Lefal is back. Alright, so what's happened here now? Because Jeremy Lefal passed Conor Frans. Has Conor Frans let him go? No, I think he's gone wide. I think Conor Frans has gone wide as we see it from the TV camera. Let's see if we can have a look once more. Yeah, Conor Frans definitely gave his position back. Well, that's very sportsmanlike from Conor Frans. And so the charge for P4 is back for Conor Frans. Another task he has to get probably his elbows out yet again. Both gold drivers. Every category being relatively balanced. Gold drivers within each other's reach. The highest bronze driver currently, Liam Muller in P11 in the Grello colored GT3 Porsche. Well, what are the prices, I hear you say, for all categories? Because there are prices, but different ones for each category. The man who's currently in the lead of the championship, Tommy Razzair, who's getting held up by an Italian Porsche GT3 in front of him. Tommy Razzair not happy, Gian Zuidweiler getting by immediately, but surely Tommy Razzair has lost valuable time by being held up by that Porsche just in front of him. But if he keeps driving like he does all season long, he'll win 65 euros. And that's fantastic for a championship like this one. 6 rounds, 65 euros. Well, that's roughly 10 euro per round. That's more than a lot of people get for their sim racing. P2 gets 45 euros in the gold standings, and P3 will be rewarded 35 euros. In the silver category, which currently would go to Michael Schmidt, he would get awarded 40 euros in P1, and then in P2 and P3 will get a free entry. P1 in the bronze category will get a free entry for next season as well, and there are more drivers prizes like coaching. If I'm not mistaken, if I say P1 and P2 in the gold category need or will not need coaching, but they will be awarded coaching by Sim Racing Center as well. An hour of sim racing, almost hero, I want to say. A lot of competent drivers like Thomas Ronhaar you can get coaching from for an hour. Very valuable even for a driver like Tommy Razzair and Conor Frans. Frans having the highest I rating of the grid, 8.9k. But people like Lefal and Blokker and Zuidweiler doing everything to prove that I rating isn't always a deciding factor in iRacing. And it's really a race like this. It is really hard to especially if you're just all alone, like Dennis Blocker. You're currently in P3, you're all alone, 6 seconds in front of you, 5 seconds behind you. It's really difficult to then get into not making a mistake. It will definitely occur more at the end of the race. Some drivers will feel a little bit tired or a little bit unfocused for just one corner. And that one corner is enough to maybe unsettle the car, or you position your car a little bit in a way that you didn't might expect, and then a mistake happens. Maybe braking just a little too late for the Audi S-bocht, like Dennis Blocker just went through. And then, going across the gravel, which Dennis Blocker actually did last corner. Lots of gravel, as Gion Zoutewelle getting closer and closer to the back of that Aston Martin. Conor Franz close at the back of that Mercedes AMG. Yeah, I do get some comments as Conor Franz on the inside now towards Schijfvlak. That's impressive if he manages to pull it off. Conor Franz in P5. Tried it, now down the inside of turn 8. Yes, he is. Not enough though. Jeremy Lefaul absolutely on the defending edge there. And the same counts for Conor Franz on the attacking edge, almost losing the rear of that Aston Martin. You'll have to excuse me for the timing tower. We've been working at it since last stream, and in qualifying, timing tower is all okay, and then in the race, somehow something goes wrong with my broadcasting tool. Again, like I said last race, I'll try to sort it out. To me, it's a mystery why it happens. Mystery for Conor Franz how he will be able to overtake Jeremy Lefaul, as we have almost passed the halfway mark of this race. Diego Teunissen in P10 in the Mercedes black and white, or yellow and white colored Mercedes AMG GT3. Lots of fans for Matej Piroch. Here he is, the Czech driver, driving in P26, a lap down, but still steady in P26 in the McLaren, the Czech driver. As a matter of fact, the leaders are coming up on Matej Piroch, as Tommy Razaier and Gion Zoutewelle approaching him with hot steam under their tires. As that gets Piroch lapped. And now we can look how it's done by the leaders. Copy their lines, maybe get a little bit faster. As Gion Zoutewelle still in P2. Nicolas Weiler, who has had a steady race, currently in P17, the German driver. Porsche 911 GT3 with a little bit of damage at the rear end actually. Lots of chaos happened in at the start. Chaos I can't really sadly replay. Fantastic entertainment given by this fantastic circuit with a lot of history as well. Before this race, return to the F1 calendar as well. Conor Franz trying to attack the Frenchman in the same way he did last lap around, but it's not working for Conor Franz. He needs to find another way, maybe by fuel saving. On track, it's just going to be difficult. Some people also call this track the Monaco without walls. The gravel and the grass is oh so close. It's sometimes a tight circuit at some places. Now I think he's finally done it. Or has he done it? No. Because in turn 10, the Frenchman is still alongside the Aston Martin. Can the Mercedes get the traction down? Now it's a straight line speed, a drag race towards the Audi S-Sport. But Conor France has finally done it in a clean manner. Gave the position back after contact a few laps ago. But now Conor France finally done it. Past Jeremy Leval and in towards turn P4. And now finally he can maybe catch Dennis Blocker. It's going to be a heavy ask though, 7.7 seconds. But let's see what the pace advantage for Conor France now is to Dennis Blocker. Jamie de Boever currently driving in P13, absolutely in no man's land. And that's not the timing tower, that's really in no man's land. You can see it on track. 4 seconds in front of him, 6 seconds behind him. I say one who's got it even worse, Navarro de Boever. 13 seconds in front of him. Well, that's quite a big gap in for between P12 and P11. Hudson Hughes in P7, still at the back of that Ford GT3. A damaged Ford GT3, so I'm actually quite impressed. The Swiss driver of Michael Schmidt has been able to keep that Aston Martin behind, because with a not so streamlined front end, that's pretty difficult coming towards the Audi S-Sport. And the pace advantage seems to be favourable towards the Australian driver, but enough. It's not for a pass. Maybe on the straight, on the main straight, he's close now. 0.2 of a second. Surely that can be close enough for an overtake for the Australian driver in towards turn 1. Approaching turn 1, maybe with a late send down the inside. He's looking. But Michael Schmidt closes the door on entry. Nowhere to go for Hudson Hughes. And so he stays in P7. And there's nothing really Hudson Hughes can change about that. Again, Navarro de Boever in P12. Niklas Werler in P16. Behind him is an Aston Martin driving. I can assure you that's not for position. But Heinz Remmer finally has repaired his front end, which we saw at the beginning of the race. Didn't go so well. The battle for the lead is still on. Gian Zoutewelle is still in P2. They're both not coming off each other at all. Tommy Razair and Gian Zoutewelle, they can't seem to shake one another. And that's better for Zoutewelle than it is for Tommy Razair, the man who won the last race so dominantly with an 8-second lead. The number 2 definitely earning that number 1 number. Oh, a little mistake there by Tommy Razair. Does that give Gian Zoutewelle the opportunity to maybe try and make a move down the main straight I think it's too far. 4/10 is still too far. Even with the slipstream, it's going to be too far. As the pit window is coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a pit stop. Not because it's mandatory, purely because the tanks don't have enough fuel in them. He's getting closer, Gian Zouterwelle. The Dutchman against the Frenchman. Gian Zouterwelle has the home advantage. Let's see if he can use that home advantage to any good use to maybe pass for the victory. Getting closer and closer. 2/10, 1/10 is the gap. Maybe a send down the inside of the second to last corner. This is going to be a feisty battle for the lead. Be on the edge of your seat because the battle for the lead in this race is finally kicking off after some waiting. Gian Zouterwelle on the outside of the Tarzanbocht has to do it around the outside, needs to commit under braking in towards the Tarzanbocht. Tommy Razar tries to push him wide, but he's still there, Gian Zouterwelle, and therefore he has to be given the space. The Frenchman knows it, cuts him off though in towards turn 3. Has the more preferable line, Gian Zouterwelle, and now side by side again, hard racing, but fair for these two drivers. Tommy Razar leaving Zouterwelle the space, and now in towards the inside, towards Schijfvlak. Gian Zouterwelle has taken the lead of this race with a beautiful move by sticking around the outside. He's not there yet. Tommy Razar still all over the Dutchman. Maybe a send down the inside of turn 9. It's not going to happen this time. Can the Aston Martin put the traction down? Can he find an opening? Because now the rules are in fact reversed for the second round in this NXTGP DTM Championship. This DTM Championship obviously aligning with the actual DTM Championship. Zandvoort is already prepping the DTM Championship coming from 22nd and 24th in May, so that's this weekend, and Tommy Razar gets in pit lane, so that's a scheduled stop for the Aston Martin. Is this a stop earlier than planned? I don't think it is. I think Gian Zouterwelle has saved a little bit of fuel. Dennis Blocker also gets in pit lane. Let's see what Conor Fransen does. He stays out, so that gives him a little bit of an edge in terms of fuel coming next lap when everyone else pitted. Lefal in pit lane, Hudson Hughes in pit lane, Lucas Romano, the Ford Mustang, stays out. Diego Teunissen also stays out in that colorful Mercedes AMG GT3. Behind them is Matej Piroch. I'm wondering if that Ford Mustang is full position then. I can assure you it's not. Michael Smith coming out of pit lane. Tommy Razar obviously already out of pit lane. Now it's up to Gian Zouterwelle to drive what I suppose is his in-lap this lap. We have roughly 15 minutes to go. A bit more than that. Gian Zouterwelle will pit now. So will he extend this lead, Zouterwelle, by staying out? Or will he decrease it? I'm sure no tires will be changed, because 55 minutes on one stint of tires is definitely doable for these GT3s. Gian Zautuelle coming in towards pit lane, having that edge of staying out a lap later fuel-wise. Same counts for Conor Franse, same counts for Lucas Romano. Conor Franse, the number 9 car, now coming in towards pit lane. The man who's second in the championship needs to do everything he can to keep P4. Gian Zautuelle coming out of pit lane now. There's Tommy Razar. This is going to be close. Obviously, it was close already. I think Gian Zautuelle has it on the inside, carrying a little bit less speed. But can Tommy Razar fire up his tires a little bit quicker? Obviously, you're a little bit stationary for a while, and Tommy Razar's tires has been fired up a little bit. Will it be a decisive difference? I don't think it will be. Conor Franse getting out of pit lane in front of Jeremy Leval. There is Dennis Blocker, so no threat to Blocker is Conor Franse. Franse has a slowdown. Conor Franse has a slowdown. How he picked up that slowdown is still a complete mystery to me, because I'm not sure when you can really get one out of pit lane. You have turn 2 and turn 3. Turn 3 is the banked corner, of course. You would then maybe get the slowdown somewhere in the area of the Rob Slotemaker box, which is very impressive. But the slowdown is still there. $50 minutes remaining in this 55-minute race. Well, the battle. Oh, Conor Franse has a drive-through. He has a drive-through. As a matter of fact, I thought it was only a simple slowdown, but it's a drive-through. That means Conor Franse has had too many incident points, surely. Or has he been speeding in pit lane? That could also be well a possibility. Let's see how many off-tracks he has. Only 5. Conor Franse has sped in pit lane. Absolute drama and heartbreak for Conor Franse as he exits pit lane, having gotten a penalty for speeding in pit lane. Well, that's one way to ruin your race. As we see Thijs van Huys had supposedly an incident, just locking up the rears under braking, and there he goes, around in towards turn 10. And we're back live again. Well, the gap towards P1 is shrinking. Tommy Razar and Gian Zautuelle, the battle for P2 continues. Are there any more battles on track? Well, there's a battle for the wooden spoon, as they say in English. Yes, Cas Heine and Van Weijers both have been lapped, but both running in P17 and P16. Oh, there goes Cas Heine in pit lane. Well, then this battle is over. Ruud Lopez running P19 will shoot up to P18 after Cas Heine stop is completed, and Ruud Lopez has overtaken Cas Heine. And that's the only Audi. Oh, there goes Matej Pirog, getting lapped by Dennis Blocker in the number 21 Porsche. Blocker again in absolute no man's land. 11 seconds in front, 8 seconds behind is the gap to Jeremy Leval. Well, talking about a boring race for Dennis Blocker, but rather a boring race in P3 than maybe one like Conor Franse. The gap to P7 is 4 seconds. Let's see if he can win any time on a lap. Franse lost 11 seconds. Well, that's still because of the drive-through, so we're only going to see what Franse can really gain this lap. But right now it doesn't seem it's is actually going to be enough. Gap still staying on 4 seconds. So the only really interesting battle here might be for you, Hudson Hughes and Michael Smith, but currently the closest on track for position are actually P1 and P2, and that's not my timing tower going crazy. Gian Zoutewelle will make history in this DTM championship by being the first Dutchman to win it on home soil. Lots of history for this circuit. In any case, oh, there goes. Surely an incident must have happened there. What's happened to Hudson Hughes? His rear front end is completely totaled. Something's happened to Hudson Hughes. What's happened here? Oh, netcode between the drivers. Well, there's a little bit of contact, but with the amount of force that contact was made, surely that must have been netcode. Hudson Hughes losing its front end. Absolute drama for the Australian driver, but he seems to be quite close actually. Wow, that's impressive by Hudson Hughes. Lucas Romano might actually benefit from the battling these two drivers are getting into each other with. Actually, Hudson Hughes on the inside. With a damaged front end, the Australian driver wanting to get that P5. Not succeeding so far. You know, you might classify it as downforce loss. Well, maybe it's enough weight loss, that front end, for Hudson Hughes to actually make a move for the final spot in the top 5 with only 10 minutes to go. Let's be on board then for Hudson Hughes. Alright, with Hudson Hughes. Let's see if he can gain on the driver in front of him just a little bit more. Four tenths between the two drivers respectively, as Conor Franze is not winning time on Lucas Romano, and it's a little bit surprising. The Aston Martin in fiercely forward number 9, just not having a successful weekend. Gian Zoutewelle definitely taking over that spot in P2 in the championship, if my maths are correct. My maps are definitely correct. One driver who's not driving this race is Porter Silva. We're also missing Sam Kortlever. Let's see if these drivers will get back into this championship. I should ask it, but maybe you could have a. I think there's definitely one dropout round, if I say that correctly. A dropout round is basically a round of your worst result that's been taken away, and that means that a driver, if he doesn't have the time, we're sim racing after all, doesn't have the time for one race, then he can have that race discarded, or actually will have that race discarded, and that means he stays. Especially if you're someone like Porter Silva, who's P3 in the gold category, 52 points to his name. If he isn't available to drive this round, but he is available to drive all the other rounds, then it's only fair that for only one round he can get a discard. Something you might not expect, but in the gold championship, it's Lucas Romano, currently in P5 in the championship, the Belgium driver, had a fantastic executed strategy last race. definitely didn't qualify P5, but his consistency and his capacity to not make any mistakes definitely helped him to climb to that P5 in the gold category. There's still a silver driver between Lucas Romano, Hudson Hughes and Jeremy Lefau, and that's Michael Schmid. Michael Schmid, currently only P7 in the silver standings, will definitely change this race around. Actually incredible. Hudson Hughes is competing with the cars in front and behind him with having really no front end. He has a bonnet, but he doesn't have a front end. Actually incredible. Oh, there goes Hudson Hughes. Oh, actually Lucas Romano, the Belgian driver, down the inside of Hudson Hughes. He tried it, didn't succeed. And now he has to try it back again. Another attempt for the Belgian driver. Time is running out, 5 minutes. 5 minutes still on the clock. The blue and black Ford Mustang definitely has more straight line speed. You can see it because of the damage. Hudson Hughes has so much front end damage. He's losing the straight line speed surely, but that maybe restores the braking capacity of the Aston Martin. Less straight line speed, but you can brake like a little bit later. It just looks like Hudson Hughes is driving in a GT 3.5 instead of a GT3. Make the rear end a bit shorter and you're driving an Aston Martin GT4. Lucas Romano still on the edge, looking everywhere to pass the Aston Martin in front of him. Ironically, he probably doesn't know Hudson Hughes has that much front end damage, given the man in P7, maybe down the inside, can only see his rear wing. As Michael Schmid passes a backmarker, and that backmarker will very fairly let Hudson Hughes and Lucas Romano by. But I don't think the Belgian driver, maybe he can see it a bit from the side, is aware the Aston Martin in front of him is missing a front end. Lucas Romano still, now's the chance, maybe down the inside of Schijfvlak. Just not enough. As there is a fight. Jamie de Boever and Niklas Werler going toe to toe with each other. Jamie de Boever in the black and blue with gold stripes Mercedes AMG. In front of him, Niklas Werler for Eiffel Racing, managing to hold on with the latter stages of this race, nearing completion. Romano still trying to get that P6, and that's P5 in the gold position, P5 in the gold class. Can Jeremy de Boever finally overtake Niklas Werler? Oh, down the inside. Little bit of contact between the drivers. There comes Jorn Polonus in the also beaten up Ford Mustang. So the Boever now has to look in his rear view mirrors. Will jump a little bit between the fight of these three and Lucas Romano. Will stay here though. Battle for P12 gets completely loose. Niklas Werler taking a defensive line, which is costing him time dearly, as I think these three drivers and the rest of the field are coming probably across the line for the very last lap of the race. Definitely their last lap of the race. Means that Navarro de Boever, also the gap to Liam Mulder is shrinking, and suddenly a lot of fights are being brought into life at the closing stages of this race. Lucas Romano will not take P1 or take the position of Hudson Hughes, and we will go one more lap. As a matter of fact, would have been close between Zoutewelle and Tommy Razayer to make it, but we will go one more lap. It's just that the drivers behind them are almost a lap down, so the difference is quite immaculable. Jorn Polonus at the back of this three-man train. The Boever right in the middle of it. Lucas Romano getting closer again within that 1 second gap of Hudson Hughes, but it's not going to be enough, surely not. As these drivers this time really will come across the line on the main straight to start their final lap. But not more than 10 seconds behind them is Gian Zoutewelle, who's driven an impeccable race. Nobody could beat Tommy Razayer last race, but here's this man who is definitely has the advantage on home soil. He has to do it nonetheless. Already weaving, because he knows it. 2 more corners, one of which is flat out. And Gian Zoutewelle, rightfully so, will cross the line in P1, taking his first victory of the championship on home soil. Gian Zoutewelle wins your second round in this NXTGP DTM championship, followed by Tommy Razayer, who will keep the championship lead, but will be a little bit defeated by not coming across the line in first. Dennis Blocker steady does it in P3, and Jeremy Lefal, after everything, after that battle with Conor France, will finish in P4. Michael Smith is your silver class winner in the second round of the DTM NXTGP Championship, in front of important contenders for the Gold Championship as well, because everything is still open. Conor France will finish in P8 with, well, his hat will definitely hang down for a couple of minutes, and then he has to carry on for the next round of the championship. Diego Teunissen finishes P9. Greatly done by him. Navarro de Boever, your highest Lamborghini driver, in P10. Followed by Liam Mulder. Followed by Niklas Werler, the German driver, will finish in P12. Will finish P4 in his silver category. And I've completely forgot Liam Mulder winning the bronze category this time around. And well, that's already everyone over the line. Everyone up until I think P15 was lapped, which is which tells you everything you need to know about the pace of Zoutewelle and Tommy Razayer. Well, we have the results, and therefore we will get to the closing stages of this race. Razayer in P1, Giel Zoutewelle in P2. Only it's well, apparently this is the qualifying results. Fantastic. We need the race results, obviously, which we will get now. There you go. those are the race results. What are you thinking? Well, Razar definitely didn't win this race. Well, Gian Zouterwelle wins the race with a 2.7 second gap to Razair in P2, followed by Dennis Blocker in P3, followed by Lefile, the Frenchman, in P4. Smith is your last man who will finish inside the top 5. Hughes, the Australian driver. I wonder what time it is in Australia right now. I'm sure surely it's somewhere midday or morning or even night, which I don't hope for Hudson Hughes. Lucas Romano will finish in P7. Unofficially, obviously, penalties might still come across anyone's way, followed by Conor Fransen in P8. Diego Teunissen will finish in P9, followed by Navarro de Boever, followed by Mulder, Niklas Wegleg, then Polonus in P14, Mulder actually in P11, Niklas Wegleg in P12, Jeremy de Boever in P13, yeah, Navarro de Boever and Jeremy de Boever, both family I suppose, so a bit confusing at first. Polonus in P14, followed by Franke, Lopez, Heine and Rijers in P18. It's then Zwemmer in P19, followed by Gebuis, Martens, Kjorenstad, Huis, Matej Pirog, Rick Postema, Ardizone, the only Italian in this championship, in P25, followed by Schweikert, Metzler in P28, and there I think are the very last finishers, or not finishers, some people definitely DNF'd. David Prochaka in P30, followed by Uit van Kruiswijk. Schijfvlak Racing having a difficult time at their home track, followed by Frederik Schöneveld, and Hahuri has finished last. Even wondering if P34 started this race, but that is the second round of this NXTGP championship done. Sorry for the inconvenience with the timing tower. I'll get it sorted hopefully next time around. And well, we are going to prepare ourselves for the very next round, which will be in the week of the 19th and 21st of June. Will then race at the Lausitz Ring, like the real DTM championship will as well. Here at NXTGP, I thank you all for watching to this second round, to this incredible second round of this incredible DTM championship. We'll see you next time. Until then.